Maneva na sema PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV de osia dem yopo.
Dealing with the menace of not just soul sourcing, but the hypocrisy of the people who spoke against it. And it's all about money, isn't it? It's about corruption. The reason why Fourth Estate is desperately interested is that they see soul sourcing as a big avenue and corridor for corruption by public officials. Because as we explained before, you engage in soul sourcing by calling a contractor and offering him cake and meat pie. Soul sourcing is cake and meat pie to a contractor. You call him and said, I have selected you for soul sourcing, so you don't need to do much. There's no competitive bidding. You don't even need to fix your books. You don't need to get your GRA to be the best and the latest reported. Just get some basic documents you need because I'm recommending you for soul sourcing. So I'm giving you the project. So how much would they, how much that, how much this, how much that, how much this? That's the conversation. And that is why people who are anti-corruption crusaders are very worried about soul sourcing. And that is why those who are anti-corruption crusaders supported the government on supported the NDC party in opposition about soul sourcing. And that's why they got the NDC to put in their manifesto that they will not do soul sourcing. Something Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, the foreign minister, was very proud to say on TV3 that is in their manifesto. So these civil society actors who see soul sourcing as an avenue for corruption supported the NDC because they thought the NDC was giving them a listening ear. That's what they believed, that the government of the MPP were not giving them a listening ear, that the NDC guys were giving them a listening ear. They immediately believed that the NDC's listening ear and the attention they were giving to the anti-soul sourcing narrative was, it gave them an impetus. It spurred them on to give NDC support and to see that's what all the things that I started saying NDC have changed, they have changed, they have changed. All of these things were spurred out of these things. So now civil society is upset because the people who promised them and who agreed with them that soul sourcing was an avenue for corruption, they have come to power and they are dealing with soul sourcing in a grand way. Anyway, so you can end the soul sourcing video on that narrative. Still related to soul sourcing, our Papa, Nicholas Duncan Williams, the legendary Archbishop, has an advice for wives of politicians, like the new politicians, the young people who have come, I was trying to sneeze, sorry. Apologize. So Duncan Williams has a message for the young people who have come and who live in Airport Hills. These young people, they come straight from school and then they go and do politics and they live in Airport Hills. Some of them, they come straight from school, they go and do politics and they say, my wife is the one looking after me. Some of them are so arrogant. The arrogance of power has taken over them. You can see it in their hair. You can see it in the way they walk. You can see that these are terribly arrogant people who have not contributed much to the Ghanaian enterprise. That's why people like Duncan Williams are pained. Because when you see people who have not contributed nothing to the Ghanaian enterprise, in fact, they have benefited from the Ghanaian enterprise by attending schools in Ghana. And then they finish school and they don't throw skills anywhere. They just rush into politics and then they are in politics and then they are talking for their party and they are pointing fingers at their opposition. And then they say that somebody is a thief. And then they become popular by talking about other people that they are thieves. Then they come to power and then they are doing terrible. Duncan Williams has a message for their wives, the men. He has a message for their wives. I think usually it's men, but there may be a few women too, but usually it's men. So Duncan Williams is telling their wives that if you are married to some of these people who have done nothing with their lives after university and come straight to politics, and you see their life, let me not take the wind out of the sail. Let's go to the Action Chapel to listen to the Archbishop, His Eminence, Nicholas Duncan Williams.
As they push for their party to come to power, even though they don't have capacity, they are given position without capacity, they misbehave. And they have wives who will never tell their husband, you have never worked before. You've never set up any business. You don't pay taxes. How come suddenly you come home with briefcase of money? Where is this money coming from? Where is this brand new car coming from? Where did you get money to build this new house? You have never developed capacity. You haven't earned it. Where is it coming from? You don't ask questions. You enjoy it and give him more sex and encourage him to go kill, lie, steal, scheme, destroy, make money at the expense of poor people. and you don't understand the implication. I'm not cursing anybody, but I'm telling you by authority, make no mistakes. The evil that men do, live after them. Make no mistake. Hear me. Hear me. The law of sowing and reaping does not need your address or your telephone number. When it is time for you to reap, it will find you. As long as you belong to a party, when your party come into office, you are given a position to the national cake, and you take what you please and you want at the expense of the suffering of the citizen. Make no mistake. And you think you are going free. No. You will end up with some evil disease. And we live in a society that is passive and a coward society. You see what is wrong and nobody talks. Everybody is hiding. A day will come. A day will come when truth shall emerge. It doesn't matter how long you hide it. A day will come when truth shall emerge. You think you are powerful today. We are destroying one another. We are destroying the country. Because this party only comes to power to make money.
This party, they only come to power to make money. This party, Duncan Williams said, they only come to power to make money. Which party is that? I don't know. He didn't say the name of the party. But after he spoke, he said, this party, they only come to power to make money. He didn't say these parties or all the parties. He said this particular party, they only come to power to make money. He said something called, is it strong disease, he said, or evil disease? It's powerful. Oh. Hey, Papa, we are sorry. We are sorry, Papa. We are sorry. We will endeavor to build capacity and serve our nation with the capacities that we have built. God be our helper. And Papa, you be our prayer champion. And pray for us. Pray for the youth, Papa, as you always do, that our path may not be obscured and that light will shine on our path, that we can walk in glory to the eternal Father by the grace of God. I hope that that prayer is answered. Okay, end of story. Now, my lady, Emeafa Hardcastle, was one of those who terribly complained about corruption under Akufo-Addo's administration. She was a key member of the John Mahama first government, and she's a lawyer. She was practicing with President Mahama's lawyer, Tony Letha, in Accra, and she was on several boards of the government. And in opposition, she was one of those who was quite loud in accusing the Akufo-Addo administration of corruption, principally mentioning PPA. Today, she sits at the Petroleum Commission, and this is what she has done. Do we get the story? Okay. This is what she has done. It is from PK Sapon. Emeafa Hardcastle. Questions for Emeafa Hardcastle to answer on something she has done, which is probably worse than anything that Egbert Fabiel, her predecessor, could have done. But it was Emeafa Hardcastle, among the cabal of the NDC communicators, went wild, public, and telling people that the NPP government had stolen this and stolen that, and that they were stealing through public procurement. That's Emeafa Hardcastle. Okay, let's move on. Question 1. Is it true that you have bought brand new Prados, Toyota Land Cruiser Prados, for all the directors at the Petroleum Commission? Question 2. Is it true that you have bought brand new Toyota Fortuners for all 27 managers of the Petroleum Commission? Is it true that you have similarly bought 2 brand new Toyota Land Cruisers V8 for yourself and your deputy? Is it true that all these vehicles were acquired through sole sourcing? Is it true that Petroleum Commission is paying 75% of the cost of the vehicles, while the beneficiaries in question are paying only 25%? Is it the case that Emeafa Hardcastle is using the state's money to help the party people who are working there to acquire cars? So the state is paying 75%. They say they are paying 25%. They deduct from their salary anyway. And then they take the car away when your tax and my tax has bought 75% of the cars for them, and it will be registered as their personal car. We are investigating this story. We are getting deeper into it because, you see, we want the political standards to be clear. And we want people to have confidence in politicians so that when next time politicians are talking, they will not tell all of us that you people, you talk this and you do something else. Emeafa Hardcastle, for all that she said, cannot be doing this. If she's answering in the affirmative on all of these 5 questions, that is a serious matter. That is a really serious matter. She should be preparing her resignation or preparing her apology, something like that. Because if she's done these things, but Akufo-Addo said, nobody should take car away. We all heard it. All the ministers left their cars. I remember Nite Kotego, the social media boss and the new media boss of the Akufo-Addo administration. He put a photograph and said, I've left my car at the Jubilee House. You people can come for it. Akufo-Addo said, everybody leave their car. So if Egbefebe left his car, which is a Land Cruiser, why is Emeafa Hardcastle buying 2 Land Cruisers for herself and her deputy? But we'll come to that story in due time. We'll come to it. The procurement stories are going to be coming plenty. Apparently, the Kwame Agboja's own is just a tip of the iceberg. The amount of procurement breaches and procurement opportunism that has occurred within the government structure, we have all. Our lawyers are just working on it so that by the time we put on the touch screen, from next week going, almost every program will have some entities procurement breaches. It's massive. And when you compare to what President Mahama said at the sessional address, then you begin to wonder, are they even listening to their president? The appointees of the president, are they even listening to him? When they put up this beautiful code of conduct, which is the first time that any 4th Republican president has done, he put up a code of conduct. This code of conduct, nobody obeys it. The other day, when he flew his brother's presidential jet, people said that he himself is violating the code of conduct. Nobody respects the president's code of conduct. President goes to run a sessional address and says that sole sourcing should be rare. The next moment, his minister for transport, his minister for roads, and the minister for finance have signed out 51 billion of sole sourcing when the president says it's rare. President says don't be profligate with spending. People are just spending. Is it the case that the appointees of the president are not listening to their boss? Is that what is going on? That will be very serious. Let's get over to Kumasi now. Dr. Frank Amoako-Hene. After that, I'll take a break, and then I'll come to the reparation story, which is my big story for this evening. I'll come to that. Then I'll do the Lumba story as well when we come from the break. The other day, we talked about Dr. Frank Amoako-Hene, and I saw that he put something on social media pretending to be teasing us. We didn't get into it because we are not about teasing people. We're about thinking and making things happen. You know, that's the point we are making. I don't know what he was doing before he became political, but I know that his doctor is not medicine. It's the other one there. You know, in tech, they have this 4-year program they do. You become doctor. They can perform something, but it's not like med, you know. So I try to find out about him because I like young people who are working. But I get the sense that he's just about playing. He's not serious. He doesn't want to do a debate of policy and debate. He's not like that. He's just playing around and he wants to be seen. And I think that's what he is. I thought that he wants to really debate. I mean, I can give it to Kujeta Blakwa. He likes debate. Dujitama Klo, they like debate. You know, all those people, they really like debate. You know, but I thought that's what he was. He also likes debate. I think he's not interested in any debate. He just wants to show himself on video and show this and show that and put some teasing text. And I'm really not sure whether he belongs to the young group of people that we should have confidence in. There are some in NDC, there are some in MPP, there are some everywhere. I thought he was one of them. But from what I saw, I shudder to think that this guy he just wants to play. Everything for him is playing. So he went to get some young people who painted the Asokwa interchange in Kumasi. And I think they did an excellent job. And it was a great initiative for him to go and get them to do that. After that, a popular musician, most likely hired by Frank Amoako-Hene, because apparently he carries bloggers when he's moving around, and he has traditional media in one car, bloggers in another car, photographers in another car, and then all of that. Okay. So this person there you see the bloggers there, you see, yeah. Okay. This person who is a musician also came out and congratulated Dr. Amoako-Hene for performing this feat by encouraging the children to do it, which is great, isn't it? But the person said something that got on the wrong side of political mavis, because the musician said that this musician, referring to himself, used to be a member of the New Patriotic Party, but he's no longer a member of the New Patriotic Party because joining the New Patriotic Party is worthless. They don't respect people, blah, blah, blah. So now he's joined NDC. And then he puts out the information that what Frank Amakohene has done by getting the young men to go and paint the place, which is a great thing, surpasses everything that NPP have done. Political
1 billion Ghana cedis were all sole source. That's the one I said. I've not said
Have you cited all
all.
of them? Because the Ghana Highway Authority say that
My
some
brother,
of them were given out.
If you want, I'll give you the document to read. Here is the document where it uses the word single source and lists all the 50 contracts. This is the procurement document. Then I have the document where the finance ministry also issued out, spelling out the commitment. That is also 50 contracts, all single source. That is the point I am making. But that doesn't mean those are the only roads that the ministry is doing. But let's even say 50 billion or 44% as they want us to believe. Nearly 50% of contracts you have given are sole source, and you want to tell us it is rare? You guys have no shame. You have swindled the country. You have lied to the country. And now you want to tell us that roads are emergency. Is that what you are saying? That we need roads, we have to construct. The time that we were constructing cocoa roads, were they not emergency? Were they not needed? But Sami Jemfi sat on TV and said, cocoa roads, we have given all of them 87% under sole sourcing. When did we reclassify the importance of road in this country? That all of a sudden you come into government. By the way, at the time you were making the promises, you didn't know you were going to initiate the big push. At the time Okujeto was telling us that in their reset manifesto, they are going to cut out sole sourcing. You didn't know that you were going to do the big push. Was the big push not in the same manifesto? What are you talking about? You have swindled the people. You have lied to the people. You are a bunch of hypocrites. The fact is that you are stealing money through sole sourcing. You are making people rich, your party people. And you are telling us that you think we don't know the people behind it. We are going to serialize all the contractors and those behind the contract. I'm telling you. By next week, Ghanaians will know every contract. Your party chairman who have taken contract. We are going to serialize everything. You think we don't know? We are not kids. But if nothing at all, Standogwe stands as the true test of this government doing family and kontafuane in our friends. Standogwe stands as the true test. And he has the effrontery to sit on social media and tell people that he also has a company. So must he collapse his company if his government is in power? He will continue to get contracts. So please, let your yes be your yes and your no be your no. You promise Ghanaians a single thing, that you are going to make sole sourcing a rare phenomenon. As it stands, it has become the main phenomenon. And lastly, your minority leader, Mahama Yariga, sat in parliament. In fact, he stood rather in parliament. Majority leader, sorry.
At the time he was minority.
No, majority leader recently. Stood in parliament and said, so this is the end, or this is the end, or this is going to be the death of the sole sourcing era. This is what he said in parliament. That sole sourcing, the era of sole sourcing is coming to an end. It is dead. But guess what? Not only have they resurrected sole sourcing, they are feeding sole sourcing fat. Not only have they resurrected sole sourcing, they have butchered competitive bidding. Completely butchered it. They are not interested in it. Everything is either sole sourcing or restrictive tendering. This has become their mantra, and this has become their go-to. A group of corrupt, incompetent, reckless, swindlers, scammers.
I've never seen such an articulate way of
to increase prices and inflate prices. That they form the bedrock for corruption. So nobody has to even use the word corruption. Look, Fourth Estate, when they did this whole expose or whatever you call it. They didn't just do it because Beatrice is a nice woman. They did it to highlight the fact that the very ills you pronounced, that single sourcing can increase and inflate contracts, the very thing are occurring. I'll give you an example. At our time, feeder road, a kilometer of feeder road was $550,000 US. As I speak to you today, and I have 2 contracts here, Roland, that I will show you. One contract, a kilometer of road is going to cost the good people of this republic a kilometer of feeder road, emphasis on feeder road, the roads that we build in the rural areas. A kilometer of the same feeder road that cost us $550,000 is going to cost us $1.2 million. A kilometer of feeder road.
Is this something that runs through, or I haven't interjected so that you say that I'm interrupting you? So, but what I do know, the little knowledge I know is that depending on the topography of the area, and this one you're alluding to specific contracts.
I'm giving you specific contracts, and I can even name the contractors and all of that. I have all of it.
So
here.
I'm asking, please, for their reputation. That's all right.
No problem. I don't have to. Okay. No, so the point is, I get the argument of topography. Sometimes we do covert, we do this.
So
I get that.
You look at the base, the material for the base will be different.
I get all of that.
So I'm saying that, are you saying this one runs through all?
I'm saying that, in fact, some of them are even
swampy areas.
Roland, some of them are even higher. I have a tract here, 600 million Ghana cedis for 23 kilometers of feeder roads. That is running about $2 million United States dollars a kilometer.
Again, why? The area we have
why? The previous ones that we did, they were not on the same area. They didn't have the same differences in area. But we average 550,000. They are averaging $1.2 million. In some instances, $2.2 million. Why? And then the most ridiculous and absurd argument is that we have only given 44% of contracts in sole sources. The president used a word. He said rare, rare. Does 44 represent rare to you? Beatrice, 44, does it represent rare to you when we say the word rare? Does 44 mean rare? Rare means sometimes less than 1%. You have done, you claim, which is not even true because I have all the contracts here. 50 contracts at a cost of 51 billion Ghana cedis are to forcing signed for 3 years, 2025, 2026, 2027, under big push. All the 50 contracts are to forcing gave commitment to. All of them, every single one of them was sole sourcing. So that 51 billion, which is equivalent to $5 million, which is equivalent to 5% of our GDP, the entire country's GDP, was given under sole sourcing. I'm coming. Is that rare to you? Is 5% of our GDP rare to you?
These are verifiable information.
I have it here. I have everything here.
So
I have everything here.
So some of the contracts, according to the Ghana Highway Authority, were given out on restrictive tender. Okay. Do you equate that to sole sourcing as well?
No, I am talking about the ones I have seen. First of all.
Okay, so you don't say
first of all, nobody has said all. I gave you specific 50 contracts. I said all the 50 contracts that are to forcing signed under the 51.
Have a listen.
It's not last week where your own colleague, Standogbe, was given contract by a government agency. And you sit here and pontificate and create the impression, this holier than thou impression, that somebody is corrupt and they are giving contract to their friends. And what haven't you done? Just last week, several contracts, not one, not one, several. Why? You made commentary. You took positions. One, the president himself said, we need to be in a position where single source procurement become the rare exception. Emphasis on rare. The word rare. Then your foreign minister, then ranking member on Foreign Committee, Okudzeto Ablakwa, said that in your manifesto, the reset manifesto, we are going to put it in the reset manifesto that single source procurement will be cut out. The word he used was cut out. Or see a big term. He was on Onia TV. Then the president again said that we don't get value for money when we emphasize on sole sourcing, because it creates the opportunity for people to inflate. Then the gentleman who's the roads minister now, Kwame Abuja, June 18th, 2021, he held a press conference and said the reason why we are not able to construct our roads is because of single source. Because single source procurement have the potential to inflate contracts. And in fact, cited several examples how contracts have been inflated. Then your other boss, Sami Jenfi, said, single source contracting is the avenue for people to steal because they inflate contracts. And President Akufo-Addo and his Ofori-Penyimfie, he went as far as denigrating a whole traditional area. I hope you are listening. He denigrated Ofori-Penyimfie, said Ofori-Penyimfie are part of the single source corruption. And you sit here and say, what, Beatrice? And say, what? Now you have found your moral scruples and want to lecture us? You want to lecture us about the things you said? The point was that you said single source procurement have the potential.
Hey, governs Kwame Abuja of KNUST. What is going on? Hey, governs Kwame Abuja. He has given out 73 billion and he's defending it. He says he doesn't care. He says that if he doesn't do a short, what do you call it? If he doesn't do sole sourcing, the thing will be slow. It will be slow. What are they saying here? The Minister for Roads and Highways, Government Abuja, has rejected claims that the government's flagship Big Push infrastructure program is dominated by sole source contract, insisting that less than half of the projects were awarded through that method. Okay, less than half. President John Dramani Mahama said something else. Tonight, I'm going to stay on Kofi Tonto on this one. I'll deal with it. But before then, I want you to understand something. Here is a contractor who is part of the Contractors Association, okay? He's not political. He's not NDC or MPP. Kofi Tonto is MPP. So, yeah, fair enough. But this contractor I'm going to show is not MPP or NDC. He is worried about something relating to the sole source. But his angle is very technical. Very, very technical angle. And I want you to see it. He spoke on Channel 1 TV. Please have a look at this.
In the classification of contractors in this country, something very, very interesting had happened over the last 2 years.
Okay.
In 2023, the ministry decided to reclassify contractors in this country. And when they did that, as at 1st January 2023, there was a total of only 233 contractors who are qualified to be on that list. Then by December or November 2024, that list had increased to 1,414. Yes, qualified contractors. Again, you see that people are actually putting their names on the list. People are qualifying quickly to bid for certain projects. Now, between November and when this government came into power after the election and December 2025, that number had...
And decide to sole source and pick people and give it to them. And it's a taxpayers' money, 73 billion of it. And where you do this whilst the president is running his sessional address in 2025, says sole sourcing will be rare. In 2026, he says there will be no sole sourcing. Yet, a minister under the president who is saying there will be no sole sourcing sits in the comfort of his office and selects Ghanaians who are his friends, whether his relation, directly or indirectly, party people, and decides that he, with a stroke of that pen, together with the finance minister, Keselato Forsen, that together they will give out 73 billion CD worth. I'd like to use it in dollars, $10 billion worth of contract to people they know, they personally know, and some of them, they know them through other people. That's really what has happened, and that's a problem. Listen to Kofi Tonto as he breaks down and analyzes and assesses this whole sole sourcing conversation.
We want to investigate thoroughly. We need to go back and look at all that information. how did all of a sudden people qualify in such huge numbers? And how many of these people who qualified within the last 1 year have been awarded some of these sole source contracts? That is where we can then begin to see the real intents and to assess whether the government is being transparent and honest with us or not. So these are the things that we need to follow very carefully so that we can arrive at conclusion, and not just the mere fact that, oh, we went through the law. No. We need to go back and look at how people suddenly ballooned, the list of qualified contracts suddenly ballooned, and then be able to look at them and say how many were upgraded from a certain level to A1, B1, and how are they truly A1, B1 qualified, and not people who are suddenly going to take contracts and go and sell it to other people.
So the suspicion started even among contractors and professionals, that they're asking Governor Kwame Agbodza that how many of those contractors are picking up the contract to go and sell to another person? How many of the 52 contracts that you have awarded is going to one individual? That's the real problem. If you follow the story as a news reporter, as I am, and I'm following the story on what is happening, it appears that they sent any Tom, Dick, and Harry to collect the contract, and it's going to be passed on to somebody. They're going to sell the contract. So these are ostensibly party people who they want to do something for. So you collect the contract and then you can sell it to a bigger contractor. And so they just rush through sole sourcing. Because if you do competitive tender, they might not qualify. That's what the engineer is asking. How many of them can qualify as category A people? How many? Governor Kwame Agbodza will answer that question. He may answer it today, he may answer it tomorrow, but he will answer it because the people of Ghana will demand an answer. You can't spend 73 billion of the people of Ghana's money in your own office on your desk. Mavis, in her traditional, very articulate self, speaking in Asante Twi, tore them into pieces. At the end of her sermon, political Mavis had put Amakohene straight to the canvas. And as for the other musician, if he listens to political Mavis, he should just run away. They also added the big fat lie that Akufo-Addo painted. Indeed, this painting of interchanges, it was Akufo-Addo who introduced it to us. We didn't know anything about it. President Mahama did a circle interchange. Did he paint the under of the circle interchange? Frank Amoako, go and ask him. Maybe he's a child. He wasn't there in 2016 when the circle interchange was opened, or probably he was in JSS or something like that. So maybe he doesn't remember. We can forgive him. Children can also lead. There's no problem about that. When King David led Israel, he was a young man. So young men can lead, but he may not remember because he hasn't studied the history and he wasn't there. Because this painting of interchanges that he's doing today, it was Akufo-Addo who taught us. We didn't know it. Nothing was painted. It was when the year of return came and the ideas were coming in about it. And then people felt that let's do this to give it an artistic impression about the Africanization and that kind of thing. It's an Afrocentric kind of thing. It's beautiful, isn't it? Yes. So it was Akufo-Addo who brought it. So if today you have learned it and you are painting and you think that that is a way to come and say that Akufo-Addo gave his daughter $25 million, that's the information they put out. That Akufo-Addo gave his daughter 25 million, a whole minister for region, Ashanti region, can participate in facilitating such blatant lies. Blatant lies. That Akufo-Addo gave his daughter 25 million to do those paintings. Political Mavis was outraged. And so she took to the camera, and this is what she said.
It is possible. Mr. Ramontag, I of our Yosi. Wayosi, ya we movies in the trendy Wayosi, Mr. Ramontag and Emami. Of what I remember video bia oko jina aya asquire interchange Dr. Frank Amakwe never visual student ako painting uno uko jina wana aboriginal minister abaso na uko donate na ma de support ye na fe wi ase na akasi supize okra de mre bi atwa mo na ye MPP ni dem enama memu a enkoye MPP memu a basa enya kono na pamu ni painting na ma wo free ma uko join NDC and asaka chat was say Akufo-Addo awarded contract worth $25 million. Yen painting interchange say ya demand eba badge and chroma. Nanu na ofam pese wada rumo mechuwa nisi ebi ana wonya re interchange ya oko jina se ya oko donating e more dia support na wo ba makwa hina basui. NPP kuro ya wo se na memu nko ye nti wo free mu no. Esa NPP 1 in 4th Republic no MPP abaye di kan e wo 4th Republic mu eye President John Ajekun Kufu Asantini de Asantini mapa Asantini President odi kan e wo 4th Republic on the Sidima Santeman enti interchange na wo so obi akọ penti ya di penti akọ penti red yellow green akọ penti enti wo bo obi abaso so akọ penti no biza won say hwan na see ye de o see ye President Kufuor was say MPP amanya kono nyenti no wa free mu no President Kufuor ya MPP ni ono and the interchange. Okoya okobo regional minister na ba so say one day free SHS visual student free SHS nkwala e ko penti omo ye free SHS student NDC for a catcher say Akufo do free SHS ni produce quantity and produce quality and nkwala na ko free SHS ni na bombo mu nim hye no enne sa nkwala yi o ma bom mu nim hye ya yes say o man sika wo mu anti bida no enne sa nkwala yi ana mo akohene ko fa o mo odo ma ko penti nti biza ho say de kan interchange ni president J Akufo ene see ye de to so mienu nkwala na ko penti ya na boni age ho no nkwala na free SHS for nkwala under president Akufo MPP number 2 in the 4th Republic. We na catch was say President Nana Danko Akufo-Addo at the same contract penti interchange see $25 million strong pussycat dollars at the man by Jankroma say penti interchange ni be one crime. What a room agency bay ministry bay a institution bay and a team a man award is our contract the Jankroma say contract awarding 8 years in Namu. A contract or more awarding 8 years in Namu. A team provided just a single document. And now move for be a crack be a dear dance. Indeed, yeah, what a contract $25 million at the Majankroman. Move for a 12 team. Of what room. Sir, interchange is as a Jankromako Pentier. On one creative arts agency or work on one only. Our dear designs near them. And no, and what they are so on the babu. Interchange is me and son. Now, by Aqua J, Tatak Pashi and one other site, Necahon, and no more quiet. Tet akwaje interchange no bu penti yen Jankroma na nkasa na ye the fundraising ni agency no na dwuma mo ye no ma na ka na secure support said ye na amakoyi ne eya askwade ya mu ko donate ya mu obi donate 1 cedi obi donate 2 cedis no saa no so ye ode ya akwaje de to so mienu eye tetekwashi no ono bo Ben Asante Ghana Gas CEO ono na sponsor ya mo ye interchange ni nyina mo be ye drawings ni nyina no obi ani wo ba ya kwa charge no 1 cedi na 2 cedis obi afina kuma mi say to watch adwuma and on buy them our mind it is that $25 million na wo kan baby bia ni wa wo say Akufo-Addo award the contract the man ba paint ya mo de ye nyina no corrupt paint CEO and the providing or supporting the other side no mo ye ni nyina awie ye eti baby ani wa ye say Jankroma kwaje $25 million na mom ono ankasa na ye fundraising and what the year kwaje dia no and Ghana Gas CEO support ye and corrupt paint CEO so support ye mo ye those 3 sites ni na awie ye what roma some ye mpanimfo and some be say bana ya manyosa na opesa wo ka bia hwehwemu ne wo no kura ewom bisa mo na ti ase ansa no obegina bonti abekasa because we are sinitwani we are star and to obi egu say wo kan sama e bia nipa no be dey said ya wo kan e no kura.
So you heard what political maybe saying that the Asokwa interchange that you went, it was Kufuor who built it. It was MPP that built the Asokwa interchange. It wasn't NDC. In this 4th Republic, NDC has been in power 8 years of Rawlings, 8 years of Mills Mahama, and 4 years now of John Mahama. So 8 plus 4. So 8 plus 8 is 16. Plus 4 is 20 years. MPP have been in power 8 of John Kufuor, 8 of Akufo-Addo, that's 16. NDC have been in power 20 by 2028, and MPP have been in power 16. Who has done what? I keep saying these things, obvious. Please check who has done what. Asokwa interchange, Kufuor came to do it. Then Akufo-Addo brought free SHS that trained these people, and I'm sure these people they are from free TVET. They are TVET people who have been trained by Akufo-Addo. You go and pick them. You, your government, you can't train anybody. You come to power from 90-something, 2000. We can't say anything that you've done that is substantial. Everything you've done, every president has done it. You build road, everybody build road. You build chips compound, everybody build chip compound. You build hospital, everybody build hospital. Where is the original thinking that has produced something to better the Ghanaian lives from your people? Let's see it. You can't find it. And then when they go and paint the thing, then first of all, the painting that you are doing, you didn't know anything about it because John Mahama did one of the biggest interchanges in Accra, Circle. We used to call it Circle Dubai. He did that. Nobody painted under. Nobody did it because you didn't know it. We all didn't know it. You can get exposed. The leadership is about that. Leadership comes and shows us things that we didn't know about. So Akufo-Addo became a leader and is pointing you to a certain artistic thing that you didn't know about. And we all embraced it. So if you are copying it, there's no problem with it. But you don't copy it and come and denigrate the person who taught you. And you think we won't know that you learned it from him. We will know. We will definitely know. That's a problem I have with some of these politicians. Maybe we just have to leave them alone. they will not mind us because they are in power. We just have to leave them alone. When they are not in power, perhaps they will listen. Sometimes that's how politicians are. So that's the end of the political movie story. Let me get onto the Tashkere now and do the Lumba story, and then we will come to reparations. Let me have the statements first, if you don't mind. Let me have the statements first. So there's a Lumba statement from, I got it from Papa Shi. He sent it to, I think he sent a broadcast. And it's a letter written to Baba Jamal and Associates. And the attention is Fatih Ali Yala, who is the lawyer from Baba Jamal representing Odo Bruni. The statement goes as follows. We write to draw your attention to certain patent inaccuracies contained in your press statement made on 25th March 2026, particularly in respect of the conclusions you purported to derive from the court's ruling, many of which are not borne out by the terms, tenor, or effect of the order as delivered, and constitute a clear mischaracterization of the court's decision. Significantly, notwithstanding the clearly circumscribed scope of the orders delivered by the court on 25th March 2026, which pertained exclusively to an injunction against the program dubbed the Celebration of Life of Charles Kojo Fosu, aka Daddy Lumba. Your report erroneously and rather conveniently suggests that the court's injunctive relief extends to any and all events relating to the celebration of life of persons other than the said Charles Kojo Fosu. These comments are most regrettable and wholly inaccurate, and it constitutes the gravest distortion and perversion of the court's order calculated to misinform the public as to the true state of affairs, blah, blah, blah. Let me just explain to you what they're saying. So the Akosua Sewa people who lost the injunction was granted against an event they were hoping to have it this weekend, event they are calling the celebration of life of Daddy Lumba. The court said they can't do that. It's injuncted that event. They tried to do an event and call it something else. So you see videos where Papa Shi is saying that it is now celebration of Akosua Sewa because, as he put it, Akosua Sewa no ono na nyame yi na ma ekunafo nyina. That's what Papa Shi said. That Akosua Sewa no ono na nyame yi na ma ekunafo nyina. So they are celebrating Akosua Sewa for standing as a backbone, as a representation of widows. That's what he's saying. So the lawyer for Baba Jamal said that the injunction extends to all kinds of things. So the quarrel that this statement is trying to settle, is that the injunction from the court did not injunct any other event. It injuncted an event whose title will be the celebration of life of Charles Kojo Fosu. So they say that the event now is the celebration of Akosua Sewa. And people are asking them, Akosua Sewa is alive. What are you celebrating the life? Celebration of life means somebody who is dead. Whatever. That's up to them. So my concern, though, is Kempon. And I've seen videos and stuff that is written about Kempon. You can put his photograph up now. That Kempon has done this, and Kempon has done that, and Kempon has done this and that and that. I'm waiting for the photograph. Okay, there you go. This is Kennedy A. Japan. That's his name. Because his name resonates with another name of the same pronunciation and very similar spelling, he calls himself Kempon. Of course, his name resonates with the celebrated politician Kennedy Ohine Japan of the MPP, the former MP, NDC, MPP flag bearer, hopeful Kennedy Ohine Japan. He was a member of parliament for Asin Central. Started with Asin North, then Asin North. He was member of parliament for, is it Asin Central? I think Asin Central. For many, many years. So they are both Kennedy Japan. So he calls himself Kempon to distinguish. So people call them Kempon the businessman and Kennedy Japan the politician. So this is Kempon. Now news has come about him, about his involvement in all of these matters, Akosua Sewa and all of that. I spoke to him last night about it, and I said what's going on. Now I know Kempon sufficiently well. Kempon has a modus operandi. Yeah, he's a contractor, so he's an earth-moving contractor and that kind of thing. So he works for government, he does cables and all that. So Kempon has this kind of modus operandi for his business. When he works for government, most contractors, when you work for government, you have to pre-finance. So when he works for government, he pre-finances the job. When he wants to take the money from the government, do you know what he does? Show me the photographs of the pairing of Kempon and other people. Bring that photograph, I'll show people something. Okay. So I have here Kempon, Kennedy Japan, and Azuma Nelson, the famous Ghanaian boxing legend, global boxing legend, Azuma Nelson. In fact, I got to know Azuma Nelson through Kempon. And Kempon actually arranged an interview for me. Those of you who are watching Good Evening Ghana for many, many years, you remember the interview we had in Azuma Nelson's house where he was in his ring and he put the gloves on my hand and all. That was all arranged by Kempon. Now, Azuma Nelson will go with, Kempon will ask Azuma, plead with him, and say, Azuma, go to the Ministry of Finance. The chief director is called Paul Adom-Otchere. He hasn't paid us our money. So go there and ask him, I'm coming with you, but you go first. So Azuma Nelson will enter the hey, Azuma Nelson, Azuma. That's how it is. Then Azuma will say that, but chief, why don't you want to pay Kempon? You see, Kempon is helping our sports. He's helping all of us. Then you don't. That's how Kempon works. There's Azuma Nelson, and then there is also, let me see the other one. Is the late Super Odi. Oh, I thought you have Kempon and Super Odi as well. Is the late Super Odi of blessed memory. And I met Odi in Kempon's house many, many times. So Kempon do you have another photograph? Kempon and Lumba and something like that, please. So Kempon has, he had this relationship with Daddy Lumba as well. They worked together, and then, of course, eventually Daddy Lumba produced the song and all that. Okay. Now, because of that, Kempon is interested in the Daddy Lumba situation. I don't think that he's interested to make any profit. I don't think that he's a bad person. I don't think that. That's not. I know that he had a good relationship with Daddy Lumba because I met Daddy Lumba in his house at Airport Residential Area. Not once, not twice, not 3 times. Many times. Many, many, many times. And Daddy Lumba was there. He looked very happy and they were talking and all of that. And I go with Lumba, will be there all the time. Kempon will complain that Lumba doesn't go out. So I'll leave him in the house. I'll go and jam, and then I'll come, that kind of thing. All kinds of things have been said about him, including the fact that they said he's thought to have borrowed a car from another Accra businessman, some Maserati. So he was asking me yesterday, Paul, but you know my Maserati. You've seen it before. You've seen it in my house plenty times. Why are they telling me that I borrowed a car from somebody? And, let's look at where the car is. Yes. I think this is no, not this one. Another one. Do I have another one? Yes. I think this is the house. This Kempon's house in Airport Residential Area. Quite a beautiful house. And that's a car. That's his car park. That's a car there. So, this thing is becoming very, very murky, isn't it? It's becoming very murky, and people are talking about people in different ways. From the little that I can say, I think that Tempest should calm down. I also just saw a video just coming into the studio that they have removed the Busiampenye and they have put a new Busiampenye there. We all enjoyed Lumba's music. There is a Bebrese. It's time for us to honor his passing. And so it will be important for all the stakeholders and the important voices, the big voices at East Legon, the important voices to calm down. Kempon just wants peace and let peace prevail. And that's the work that he's doing. So if you know more about the Lumba story and you can corroborate what I'm saying, please send us a text on Good Evening Ghana Official on Facebook. Okay, let's now go and listen to text messages, take a break, and come to reparations. It's a big story tonight. Patty, what are people saying?
All right. Thank you, Paul. So we have a long message from Junior Akbar Tamale saying that NDC never came to solve any problem in this country. They are rather going to others' problems. You can use propaganda to take over a country, and you still believe the propaganda. You can still believe the propaganda and think that you will make any meaningful policy to help the poor people of this nation. We just have to learn our lessons here so that next time we will vote a critical thinker, a man who can move this country forward. Al-Hassan Mohammed says, if NDC tells you to look up, you better look down. Scammers in government. Rex Kweku says, most of the female members of the parliament on the side of NDC have such barbaric traits of using their political power to intimidate women. I'm not surprised about this news because my mother had her fair share of such a barbaric use of her power by a former NDC member of the parliament. Till date, she still intimidates my mom on her own registered land, aiming to claim the land from my mom. Atadise NS says, NDC says something and does the contrary. Most of Ghanaians who voted for them have even regretted voting for them. They'll be voted out in 2028. Edwene says, Honorable Vincent Opon has also done the same here in Doma West by transferring a guy from Education Office to Sampa. And lastly, coming from Samuel Kelly, says, since this headmistress came from Troüble Secondary School from Wesley Girls, the school has seen a marked improvement in its grades. It's shameful that she has been removed. I think a petition needs to be sent to the president to reinstate this lovely headmistress. I once listened to an interview she gave, and she applauded her students, but said it's difficult handling boys. But she's doing her government-given gift. I think she's also an old girl of Swiss school, if my memory serves me right. May the road of this MP who removed the headmistress be rough. To you, Ella.
All right, thank you, Fatih. This one is from Chris Adu. He says, it's quite interesting that everything that the government criticized in opposition has come back to haunt them today. It is very apologetic that today they are celebrating the success of reparations as if it is not the brainchild of JDM, when in actual fact he has knowledge of how it was and how it even began in the first place. Douglas Mensa says, I must admit the legal education bill is important and the only bill that makes a lot of sense to me. The myth of Ghana Law School is finally broken. This one is from Ibrahim Andan. He says, good evening, Paul. Greetings to you and your team. Please, Paul, I would be glad if you could invite my mentor, Honorable Glover, the incoming national organizer of the NPP, to your highly regarded platform. Thank you. And then from Listo, he says, does this mean that headmasters cannot be transferred? I think if she's really good at her job, she would definitely succeed no matter where she goes. Al-Hassan Mohammed says, because of petty politics, a headmistress worth her salt would be removed from a school because of an MP's request. Abba, Ghana, where did we go wrong as a country? NDC is too evil. Lastly, from Yajabri, he says, it is welcoming news for UN to pass a resolution that slavery was the greatest crime to humanity, and there should be reaction and redistribution for the return of traditional artifacts taken from Africans. This has redeemed the image and identity of Africans and people with black descent. So the idea that Africans are inferior and only dependents because of slavery attached to their image is no more. This thought has been in the books of AU championed by former Ghanaian presidents and other African leaders, but President Mahama at this juncture is the lead champion of the UN resolution. What Ghanaians should know is that this resolution is not going to change the hardship the NDC government has imposed, and so no amount of politics they do about this will give us money or put foods on the table of Ghanaians. Back to you, Paul.
We'll take a break now. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we have Soloku Festival coming up and then the reparation story.
I'm not PENDREAM TV. Now, so far, so good. Say, open online portal, Ghana. Nipa share, Nipa follow, Nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.